How to stop viewing Islam as a bad religion. Islam has been labeled as bad, due to recent violent attacks from around the globe that have been tied to Islamic extremists. Yet those behind such acts of violence do not represent the overwhelming majority of Muslims. The media has sought to find an easy fix for a complex problem by blaming religion. By understanding the basics of Islam and its diverse followers, you will see that Islam, like other major religions, is not bad. Part 1: Separating Faith from Extremism. 1. Understand extremists have mainly political, not religious, reasons for their actions. Radical Muslims are manipulating the Holy Scripture for their own agenda, and are misusing the teachings of Islam to get more members. Of the total Muslim population, less than 1% identify as radicalized, and even fewer will use violence for their agenda. 2. The use of violence in the name of Islam is not a foundation of Islamic beliefs. Some Muslims known as jihadists have used violence as a means of power and control, but the concept of jihad is actually not a violent one. Jihad, which means struggle, was directed to mean the study of, the preaching of, and defense of Islam, but has been misused for military and political means. The use of force is seen as a last resort to protect one's faith, and even if it is used, the killing of innocents, such as women, children, and the disabled, is strictly forbidden. In Islam, the killing of innocents is seen as the killing of humanity. 3. Keep a critical eye when learning about Islam from the media. The media may simplify Islam as bad, as a means to simplify a much more complex problem. Take a look at different points of view about a topic, and understand what both Muslims and non-Muslims have to say about Islam. Each news source may have their own biases about Islam. 4. Try to differentiate Islam from local factors or cultures. Muslims practice their faiths in very different cultural contexts. Muslims living in Indonesia, the country with the largest population of Muslims, have a distinct culture from those living in Iran. So when hearing about incidents such as honor killings or women's subjugation, try to understand how various social, political, cultural, and religious factors influenced those negative events. 5. See that religious extremism is also found in other religions. Throughout history, religious extremism has been utilized as a means to gain political power and to take control of land. Take the Christian holy wars during the Middle Ages, or the anti-Semitic rhetoric that led to the Holocaust during World War II. The manipulation of religious teachings for one's own gain has been done before. 1. Understand that there are also radical Christian terrorists. There are also Christians, not just Muslims, who kill others outside their religion, and there are very religious Christian extremist groups who do things like bombing and killing just like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Part 2: Connecting with Muslim communities. 1. Take a minute to walk in another religion's shoes. By putting aside your own religious beliefs, and opening yourself up to understanding another perspective, there is an opportunity for acceptance rather than hate. This does not mean that you need to change your religious affiliation, but rather to know that many people of all faiths are often searching for the same meaning and purpose as yourself. 2. Educate yourself further about Islam and other world religions. No matter where you live, or your religious affiliation, there are ways to connect and learn, such as watch documentaries and films about Islamic culture and other religions. Take a class about world religions through a local college or online. Read books about different religions, such as Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Buddhism. 3. Join or start a group about religious or interfaith diversity. It could be through a local community center, a place of worship, or even a meetup group in your area. In most religions, whether Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, the practice of one's own religious beliefs, even if they are not the same as your neighbors, is welcomed instead of persecuted. Many religious leaders see the benefits of a strong faith, as well as of respecting the religious rights of others. 4. Consider going to a mosque, a Muslim place of worship. By visiting a mosque in person, you can learn about the everyday practices of Islam. Traditionally, Muslims attend a mosque by removing their shoes when entering, and engaging in prayer 5 times throughout the day. The prayer is led by the local mosque's leader, the imam. 5. Meet and develop friendships with people who are Muslim. Some cities have very diverse religious communities, and make it easier to have interfaith friendships, while other cities may not. Be open-minded about opportunities to learn from people of different religious backgrounds. Listen to their own perspectives on the events occurring across the globe, and learn about their own experiences with their faith. Part 3: Understanding Islam. 1. Take note that over 1 billion people practice the Muslim faith. Islam is the second largest religion in the world, after Christianity. Over 1.6 billion people are affiliated with the Muslim faith as of 2010. In the US, there are about 3 million people who identify as Muslim, compared to 5.7 million who identify as Jewish, and 2.1 million who identify as Hindu. While Christianity predominates in the US, there are many communities with religious diversity. 2. Know that Islam is a monotheistic religion like Christianity. The historical roots of Islam are the same as for Christianity and Judaism. Before these three religions came about, people often believed in multiple gods. Yet with the formation of Islam, as well as Christianity and Judaism, people started to worship one God. Though each religion may use different names, the basic belief is the same: belief in one God, Allah. 3. Discover that Muslims are not all the same. As with Christianity and other religions, over time there have been differences in beliefs, despite the same basic principles. Among Muslims, there are two main sects of Islam, Sunni and Shiite, which differ in beliefs based on who were the leaders following the Prophet Muhammad's death. The majority of Muslims in the world today are Sunnis, with a larger Shiite following in areas such as Iran, Iraq, and Syria. The extremist groups such as those led by Osama bin Laden follow a strict sect known as Wahhabism, which has been manipulated for their political gain, and has been discounted by Islamic scholars. 4. Read about the basic beliefs and tenets of Islam. By understanding the teaching of the Qur'an, the Muslim holy book, it will become clear that there are more similarities than differences between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The Qur'an actually contains similar information to the details told in Hebrew Bible. The basic articles of faith for Muslims are the following: belief in God, known as Allah; belief in angels as part of God's creation; belief in the prophets, including Muhammad, Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and others; belief in the holy books, or scripture; belief in the Day of Judgment; belief in predestination. 5. Understand that the Prophet Muhammad was not against Christ or Moses. Based on the Islamic religion, there are many prophets, including Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. When reading the Quran, many scholars believe that the teachings called for peaceful interactions between Muslims and non-Muslims. There is a fundamental respect for religions to coexist. Tips: contact the Imam before going to a mosque. If you read something shocking about Islamic practices, verify that this is actually true among most Islamic scholars, and by the everyday people who practice Islam.